Hello YouTube, Gaming Goddess here with a review on Final Fantasy VIII, a Japanese role-playing game developed and published by Square for the original PlayStation. Of course, this is the 8th installment to the Final Fantasy series, being released early 1999. It features a new magic system that we will talk more about later, but for now, let's just get into the review. The player takes control of our main character, Squall, who is first seen in a cinematic cutscene dueling with another character. Squall is a student at the Balam Garden Military Academy. We go through a series of cutscenes, tutorials, obtaining a Guardian Force monster, playing some card games, and taking part in the final exam. Then, we finally become the CSD member that we always wanted to be. So with that being said, let's jump right into the gameplay portion of this review. There is a lot to cover, so let's not waste any more time. Like in previous Final Fantasy titles, we have our world map, field maps, and battle screens. The player navigates their character across various towns and dungeons. Aside from traveling by foot, chocobo, and airship, Final Fantasy VIII also features cars, train, and mobile garden. Certain types of transportations require actual story progression, while others will be available to the player already. While on the field or world map, randomly generated battles will take place. Now, Final Fantasy VIII has to feature one of the most annoying battle systems I've ever seen. Like in previous games, we can still attack, use magic, and summon some pretty cool monsters, but the process to do so is really tedious and just outright annoying in my opinion. This unique battle system, known as the junctioning system, acts as a substitute for armor and accessories, allowing the player to enhance character stats and determine what commands that character will use during a battle. By junctioning a Guardian Force to a character, the player can then set magic, GF, items, and draw commands on that character. In my opinion, the magic in this game is just downright useless until the player has actually drawn magic out from the enemies. Now, a character can hold about 32 different spells, and they can max each spell out to 100. Now, these Guardian Force summon monsters are pretty cool. We got our classic Final Fantasy summons like Ifrit and Shiva. Now, we would normally use these guys in battle to do maximum damage to the enemy, but here in Final Fantasy VIII, not only is it a powerful ally in battle, but it's also a good support asset outside of battle. Guardian Force can gain experience points as well as ability points. This helps the Guardian Force level up and learn more abilities. These abilities can further assist the player in the game. Keep in mind that there is a limit on how many abilities a Guardian Force can actually learn. Once the limit is maxed out, the player will have to force the Guardian Force to forget an ability in order to learn a new one. Also, a character must have a Guardian Force junction to them so that they can gain the experience and ability points. Another little gameplay feature that kind of bothers me is the junk shop. Now, obviously the Guardian Force acts as a general equipment for the character, but when it comes to the weapons, we can only upgrade our weapons when we have the required items to do so. Of course, upgrading a weapon will affect the appearance of the weapon, make it more powerful, and will increase the overall hit percentage. Now let's take a look at the game's graphics and audio. Of course, this game is a PS1 game that was released 2 years after Final Fantasy VII, so the graphics are a bit improved. We now have more proportioned 3D characters. This game also features some pretty cool cinematic cutscenes, and of course, they look better than the actual game itself. This is just my opinion though. As for the game's audio, the general soundtrack of the game is actually pretty good. It's not too bad, and I don't find it annoying at all. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the pros and cons based on my experience and general opinion of this game. First, some pros would include the general soundtrack, the cinematic cutscenes, and the tolerable characters. One thing I feel kinda mediocre about is the story. At times I feel like I could get into it, but there were other times when I just genuinely felt confused about it. I'm not saying that it's a bad story or that it's badly laid out, but I just think it's kinda weird. As for the cons, this game has the most tedious tasks that need to be performed during a battle, and the junk shop just isn't my thing. Overall, Final Fantasy VIII isn't too bad of a game. The game's story is pretty weird and kind of confusing at times, which makes me feel mediocre towards the story aspect of the game. There are some attacks that are just outright ridiculous, and of course we have to draw magic out of the enemies just so our characters can use magic. Other than that, we are given some pretty cool cinematic cutscenes throughout the game, and I appreciate that a lot. Now, just the gameplay as a whole, I have mixed feelings about it. I like that there are some classic things in this particular game, and I understand that they wanted it to be a bit different. But having to have a Guardian Force equipped to the player in order to actually perform good in battle is just plain stupid in my opinion. Final Fantasy VIII gets an overall rating of 5 out of 10. This rating is based on my own experience with the game, so with that being said, if you like this review, feel free to leave a like. Also, comment down below telling me what you like or don't like about this game. This has been a Gaming Goddess review, and remember to keep on gaming.